we start, I'd like to say that you should make one of these little spreadsheets like I've made. Just pick whatever something familiar is best for you. I'll be mentioning how later in the film, and make sure you know how much XP you get per that familiar and how many shards are needed to make it.
Hey guys, this will be a quick guide on how to program something on your Ti83 or 84 calculator on how to tell you how many shards you need to use all of your charms that you have in your bank and how much XP that will give you. So this is my calculator, and let me just show you how this nice little thing works. Now let me remind you that I am not a professional photographist, and my hand might be shaky because I'm holding it above my camera. So zoom in the screen. My thing's just called QQ. Hope there's no glare. I use it, and let's say I have 1,000 crimsons. That's what the C is for. 500 blues and 2,000 greens. That will give me apparently 1,123,100 XP, and I'll need 602,000 shards to use it. Now, ain't that nifty? Let's see if I get more sunlight. Or not sunlight, natural light. So let's do this. Let's go to programs and new. Call it whatever you want. Guide or whatever. I'm just gonna call it PP. So step one, what you have to do is decide. Decide what you're going to be using your charms on. There's plenty of guides on YouTube plus on Runescape Wiki. The best one, the one that I suggest using, is Silent Course. He made a great guide on what to use your charms on at what levels. But for the purposes of this example, we'll be saying that you're 96 summoning, and you'll be using a pack yak, a sphere unicorn, and a geyser titan. Of course, you can program golds into this too, but I don't use golds. So this will be how I managed to program this. So let's get back to this. Click on program, take a right, and you'll find input. Click enter. Let's see if I can make this any less glared. It's pretty good. Enter and input. Now, what you're going to do is alpha down here, and quotations. See them right above enter? Click that right here with the plus sign, and that's going to let you type whatever you want to pop up onto your screen. I just did C to connote crimsons, but you can actually write crimsons. But for the sake of time, let's just write a C. Let's close those quotations the same way we just opened them down here. And now we're going to do a comma, which is pretty important. So right under the sign, click that. And we're going to have to use alpha again. So alpha, and let's just say X, okay? See this X down here? Oops, I made a shadow. It's not very helpful. Okay, so this is our first line of text. What we're going to do now is click enter to create a new line. What we're going to do now is say X times however much XP it gives. I'm using pack yak, so that gives 422.7. And you're going to store it. Now this is important. Above the on button is a thing called store. Click that. And we're going to change that to A. So alpha A. So now you have a new variable. Now let's repeat this for every type of charm you're going to use. Input, quotation marks, B, comma, this will be Y. Y times a geyser titan gives 783.2. And I'm going to store that as B. Store B. Last one, program. I only do this because I hate using gold charms. So slow. Green, G for green, comma Z. What am I doing now? Oh yeah, Z. Oh, didn't even realize my camera was off. Z times unicorns give 154.4. I'm going to store that as C. Okay, so that wasn't so hard, was it? Now, time for a new line of text. This is how we're going to find out how much total XP you're going to get from all the charms you're going to use. We're going to do alpha A plus alpha B plus alpha C. I'm going to store that as, let's just say D. Alpha D. Oops, I clicked something wrong right there. Alpha, where's D? Oh, it's down here, D. So, what we've done so far is have it input C, so on your screen it'll say C, and we'll plug in how many crimsons we have, and it'll multiply that number by the XP crimsons will give you, so on and so forth until you get to this last line, which it'll add up all the XP you're going to get and into a nice neat little number. Now for the shards half, it's pretty similar. You've already got your X, so retype X and multiply it by how many shards this crimson thing costs. So Packaxe requires 211 shards to use, and we're going to store that as a totally new variable. Let's say I, because it's a nice new row of letters. We already have your Y, which is your blues, so we're going to multiply that by 222, because that's how much the Geyser Titan uses, and we're going to store that as J. And you already have your Z, which was conveniently entered at the beginning of this program, times 140, which is how much a unicorn uses, and we're going to store that as K. IJK. Last step of programming. By the way, I am sorry if the camera worked. I'm literally holding the camera with my right hand and typing with the left. I hope this is still a viable guide. Same thing as before. We're going to do I plus J plus K. I'm going to store that as just pick any single letter that has been used already. L is just the next one in the alphabet, so that's convenient. Now, time for the part that tells you how much you're going to get for it. So, program, display, which is the third one down if you take a right. And to make this pretty, this might not make a lot of sense, but you're going to want to do alpha quotation, alpha space, which is the 0 when you alpha it. See how on your program we made a space, and alpha quotation. Now, make an enter. The reason I just did that was so when you get your result on your screen, you don't see any of the text above. All it says on your screen is your XP, your shards, and your and done. That's all you see. So now for the part about your XP, you're going to go to program. Once again, display, and oops, not graph. I'm sure technical people would use graphs in this circumstance, but I'm using simple programming. We're going to go click quotation marks XP. Okay, so if you can guess what's next, we're going to program, display, D. And obviously D is the number we decided above. There's no quotation marks around D. It's just your variable, because remember above we did A plus C plus D equals D. So now, one more thing to do. We're going to put a space, so you separate the shards and XP. Oops. Program, display, oops. Another space like we did right above this. New line of text. Program, display, quotation mark shards. So the problem with calculators is they can't find any of the letters. They're all not in a logical order. I mean, they are in order, but they're just not anywhere that makes sense. Ooh, did I spell shade? That's supposed to be an R right there. That's my problem, see? Shard. Add an S. And finish the quotation marks. Final step. Whatever variable you use to do I plus J plus K, you're going to do display that variable. So I used L. You should have used L too if you're following my guide. And you are done. So let's do second quit. Now, I've already done the math. You can verify it if you want to, if you're a skeptic. But you're going to go to Program, execute the one you just made, which is whatever you called it. You're going to click Enter. And your first line of text will pop up, which is either crimson or C or red or whatever you called it. Say I have 1,000 crimsons, 500 blues, 2,000 greens. You're going to click enter, and you see how right up here there's a space. That's very helpful. So on your screen right now it's only XP and shards. This number right here obviously is total amount of XP. This number here is the total amount of shards. I found this really helpful when I just wanted to make random scenarios, you know, like what if I had 2,000 crimsons, or what if I had 400 blues. So it's also fun to play with in school. So let me know if you guys like this, and I hope it was like you could tell what I was doing despite my shaky camera work and my dodgy instructions. Bye guys.